Welcome back, Lagos and Nigeria, to the show. If you're just joining us, we've been on for a couple of minutes, and now we have two really exciting guests on the show. These spectacled gents are going to be talking with me about the fight against poverty in Nigeria and how serious it really is or not. Welcome. I have with me, God bless Otubure.
You got it.
Where are you from?
I'm Nigerian,
Okay.
but I'm Deltan as well. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And I have also Elder David Ekende. Welcome to the show. You are both policy analysts. Yes. Please, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. So let's dive right in. I'm sure we're all aware, and we've all been in the know. The federal government has been challenging the recovered Abacha loot and the International Development Association and World Bank credit towards programs and policies designed to address the plight of the poor and vulnerable Nigerians.
Yeah.
A presidential aide or special advisor to the president on social investments, Mrs. Miriam Owe, made the declaration about this. And the presidential aide also said from August 28 to October, the payment cycle amount disbursed from the loot was $76,538 and $27 million from the IDA credit. I want to ask you guys, the First Lady questioned the authenticity of this program a few months ago.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
So if you look at it and then you say, the First Lady, who is apparently a first witness to some of these issues that are happening at that level, questioning it, should give a lot of us reason to also want to say, is there something not happening properly here? So as policy analysts, you want to look at it and say, what is the bedrock upon which this program is run? When you look at it, some people say, how many people have actually benefited from this? $76 million.
It's not a lot of
money. It's a lot of money. When you
Mm-hmm.
convert that to the naira,
I don't know if I can do that in my head.
36, at 360 or 367 or whatever exchange that you're using, that's a lot of money.
Trillions.
That's a lot of
Trillions
money.
of
So
naira.
we'll look at it and say, if we're disbursing this money and yet by when we're going into
From
the
last-
election,
yes.
we overtook India as the world poverty capital of the world, and then you've disbursed all of these monies and then there's no result. I understand why the First Lady should question that, and I think the guys running this program, they owe Nigerians a lot of explanation.
Elder, I'm going to toss this one to you. Do you think that 5,000 naira being shared is the solution to poverty? Because I understand that they've been sharing, or they claim to have shared 5,000 naira to some lower class, individuals or poor Nigerians. Is 5,000 naira enough to help alleviate poverty?
So, honestly speaking, 5,000 naira is never sustainable to reduce poverty. If you were to give someone 5,000 naira today, 5,000 naira next tomorrow, or probably on a monthly basis, the average Nigerian spends about 5,000 naira going out every day on feeding. And of course, if you live in a commercial city like Lagos, you probably spend more on transportation. So when you look at that figure realistically, 5,000 naira can never, and is never a sustainable way of leading people out of poverty. I believe there are better ways or better policies or initiatives the federal government would have taken.
Do you believe this to be some kind of handout?
So not just an handout, I also believe that this can also engender a lot of corruption, because obviously we could bring out ghost names of individuals that have received the money, and of course there is no way to verify if they really received that particular money. So in my sphere of influence, I can probably speak to the fact that I have a lot of people that are poor around me that live at the lower class, and none of them probably celebrated the fact that they got the 5,000 naira itself.
But did they get the 5,000 naira? Because I don't know about you guys. I'm not rich. I didn't get 5K.
Exactly. I also didn't get 5,000 naira. Not at all.
Do you know anyone who got the 5K?
Not at all.
No, not at all. And then when you look at it, it's important that we take serious steps. And I say this to everyone watching, and the government, they watch this show. Nation building is a serious task. You just don't build a nation. It's not a one-man. It's not a sole proprietorship, right? So the idea that we can just put these figures out there and say we've given out these monies, we need to know who got this money. Can we have a directory? Let us analyze the people. Let's be accountable. If you look at what they're doing, they will tell you, conditional cash transfers and strategies that. So all of this actually came from Brazil, the Bolsa Familia. But you just don't access the Bolsa Familia money
What is Bolsa Familia?
It's like family grant, right? In the Brazilian term, but it's been exported to around 40 countries around the world. But it is dependent on meeting certain criteria. The goal is to take people out of poverty, not just to give them handout, but to say, okay, look, if you're registered on the Bolsa Familia, you will guarantee that your kids will now go to school. You will be available for medical checkup, and you just don't get that money like that. It is through a card. So let us understand, how is the federal government of Nigeria running the national social investment program? How is it being run? Who is getting the money? At what point in the month do they get this money? Do we have the names from each state to each state? How many people? That is why I'm going back to what the First Lady said. If the First Lady is questioning this, then we have a lot of unanswered questions.
So you've already answered 2 questions, because I was going to ask you that if the First Lady is questioning it, is it possible, or do you believe there to be loopholes in this process?
Clearly, there are loopholes. There are loopholes.
Do you have ideas of what these loopholes could look like?
I just said it that if you look at what happened in Brazil, so let us understand registration first of all. Who benefits? How do we even know? Are there people who live in rural areas? Are there people who live in major cities like Lagos, like he said? Because if you look at what David does, a lot of work around agriculture and poor people, is that he's not found anyone who said, oh, I benefited. I've worked with a lot of people in the inner cities, and nobody has come to me and said, oh, I got this money from the federal government. Now, well-intentioned is not enough to lead a country. There must be an eye for accountability and asking questions. So the loophole is, how are we administering this money? Who gets it?
Elder, this one is to you. If we really want to tackle poverty, what are the things that we must do?
So for me, I think tackling poverty comes with intentional policies. First, that drives economic development, specifically enterprise development that are youth-oriented. Like I tell people, the youths, we form the mass of our population in Nigeria at the moment. And you can imagine giving, people that are business-oriented 10 million naira, 20 million naira, and bury them in clusters. And of course, setting up what I call economic and innovation zones. So, and the 2 focus areas will probably be agriculture and manufacturing. Yeah. Now, you ensure that these clusters, young people come into these particular clusters where they are supported with electricity, supported with internet, given everything they need. But we ensure that we are driving the development at the local level. Now, I believe that an empowered youth can obviously employ those that are at the lower cadre, that probably receive 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 as their monthly income. But if you are giving 5,000 naira to different categories of people that already have problems, for them it's more about survival rather than trying to build something sustainable. So for me, first things first, the government needs to revisit that strategy. You need to create economic and innovation zones. Now, if we are looking at the fact that Abacha might probably drop in more monies in future, because obviously late Abacha has been dropping monies like ATM cards. So we believe that if more money should come, these monies should be strategically positioned in a way that drives sustainable economic development, specifically in the areas of enterprise development that are youth-oriented. Now, once you can do that, obviously the ripple effect is these guys also get to employ people at the lower cadre where they can begin to pay sustainable salaries. So rather than spending these millions of dollars, you can actually build sustainable enterprises across the nation by building those innovation and economic hubs.
David, if I would just take on that, and I've been saying this, that the day we get ready to take people out of poverty, we will do it. So the question I've always asked myself is, where is our Indy car? Where is our Formula One? Where is our kayaking sport? Look at the Lagos Lagoon. What are we doing with it? Do you know how much people will take out of poverty if we have our own Grand Prix? So Ali Baba has said it many times, turn the Lagos Trade Fair Complex into a Formula One center. Imagine we harness the power of sport in each state, and then we say that we want to have just the same way you have. Okay, now the Formula One has gone to Australia. I mean, I think they just finished from Japan and so. But we don't have that. You cannot solve unemployment if you are not promoting manufacturing. You are not even deliberately saying that, look, so what they're doing now, they've closed the border, right? And we're saying we want to stop smuggling and encourage homegrown food. Good. Let's ensure that everything that we'll eat in Aso Rock from now to the end of the year or from now in the next 4 years is not foreign. There's no foreign salt, no foreign, everything has to be so. Once you do that, you are encouraging us to say, okay, there's top-down focus on the fact that we really want to, produce our own stuff and grow. where is our own, what are those other things that we can easily get entertainment around and promote so that we can diversify this economy?
But how about them using the money also to stimulate the economy by improving infrastructure and means of transportation that can aid rural producers?
I mean, that is fantastic. Look, we need to build roads. We need to build roads in a way that we have never seen. David and I just got back from the United States, and one of the things we found out is the main reason why we suffer so much in this part of the world, in Africa, is simply because we don't have basic infrastructure. We were just coming, and David was complaining about the fact that why can't we copy how the white man designs his environment? And I'm like, I can't still understand it. We saw someone throw out a nylon from the car as we're coming. And I said, the reason is because if you look at it, there's no waste bin on this entire stretch. So you look at that and say, okay, good. If we have this money, let us build new roads. And when we build these roads, we must find a way to get the community to be a part of the sustainability model. And I'm just going to say this, that I'm telling the government, we need to set up a department called Order and Good Behavior Department.
Order and Good Behavior Department. I love it. Thank you guys so much. I would love to ask you so much more, but of course we're running out of time. However, I think one more thing. Do you feel, Elder, that artisans and technical trainings will help cut down the poverty numbers as well?
Yeah, very much. And in fact, just to buttress that particular point, I told him that one of the major reasons I also think the federal government is being aggressive in revenue generation is mostly because, the bulk of artisans in Nigeria don't pay taxes. And of course, why would you pay taxes when you've probably never exactly? Can you afford to pay taxes? Now, not just even individual taxes, but even business-oriented even taxes. So for me, yes, development that's skill-based is essential, but it's not enough to back up the skills. You also need to provide the infrastructure, the amenities, the electricity. So that's why for me, I still feel that, the government should create those economic hubs that can actually be centered around youth development. Now, once it's oriented around that, you empower people with skills. Now, once people are earning a certain amount of money and they are probably registered with the CAC, it's easier for government to generate revenue that it can also plow back into the economy. So for me, it is key, very important.
And we have a lot of politicians that are going abroad for treatment as well. These are some of the other things that I think we have to contend with as Nigerians because we lack, good medical infrastructure. They can afford to do that. Many of us can't, and we're all sat here. But as we say in Nigeria, God day.
No, there's no God day.
As we say,
this is not simply getting it right and say we want to do better.
And I know we can do better, and our generation is working. The very essence of this show is to spotlight, all of the good things that young Nigerians are doing to bring it up. So thank you so much again, Elder.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
I hope you come back. 1,001 ways to spend the Abacha loot, and it still wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with a new guest. Don't go anywhere.